What is up, Need for Speed racers and pro drifters? It is I, your wheelman, Alex Cornnut. We're here today with the S-Class Pro Drift Meta cars, and oh boy, do I have a secret, and it's kind of unsettling because it appears that the drift scene has turned into a bit of a pay-to-win game at this point, and I hate to see that, but it is what it is. Let me dig into the explanation first, and then we'll get into all the builds. And for those of you that don't pay attention, you only want the screenshot, you're gonna have no idea what I'm talking about. You're gonna build it with the wrong chassis, then you're gonna be like in my comments, oh Cornnut, the build doesn't work, I tried what you did, I bank every time, I don't know what's up, mom, make me some chicken tendies, I'm trying to watch Cornnut pause on my tablet while I make the build, and I didn't listen to anything he said, none of this shit works, and I just don't even like this guy. Anyway, let's get into it. So here's the gig. The Buick GNX and the Mustang Dark Horse have special body kits. Case in point, let me show you. Go to buy custom. I've got two options here. I've got the regular one, which is just another GNX, but then there's this special one with the drag kit on it. That drag racing, wide tire, parachute on the back. The Mustang Dark Horse is the same way. There's this one, the Underground Edition, and then there's this one, the Speed Hunters Drag Racing Edition. Both the Speed Hunters Drag and the GNX that's got the parachute on the back, both of those cars with those body kits have like an immunity to banking your multiplier when you are drifting. When you're sliding around side to side and you're transitioning from one direction to another, the cars have a tendency to bank your multiplier. In a lot of cases, you don't want that. And so what'll happen is you'll have a 2 or 3 times multiplier, it'll be going through, you'll be slow transitioning into the next corner, it'll bank it. This car and the Dark Horse both have to have the drag body kit, but with that body kit, they're like almost immune to that. And so shout out to DeBuster and his team, his crew. They're awesome. And they discovered this. DeBuster's already put it on his channel, and I'm bringing it to you guys, so you need to see it. So check out DeBuster's channel right there. And then there's a card in the corner for you to click on, and that'll take you to the video where he kind of talks through this. But these two cars are like way above the rest by not banking. That's why the Colorado is so dominant in the drift scene, is it doesn't really bank the your multiplier when you're transitioning either. So it's kind of special in the fact that these cars do that, and it's a body kit that got us there. And guys, that body kit is only if you bought the Speed Pass or bought the whatever DLC that they had. So it's kind of shitty, in my opinion, because it's really kind of a pay-to-win situation. But regardless, this is the deal, this is the builds, and this is where it's at. So I do have 2 other cars that are not pay-to-win as well that you can run with. But if you run with these 2 body kits, they get it done. So the GNX, make sure that you have this body kit. If it doesn't look like this when you start building on it, it's not the right one. Are we done? Oh, do you understand? Okay, cool. Appreciate you. The engine that you're going to use is the third engine over. It is the 3.8 liter V6 Pro Silver 304 brake horsepower when we start. For the parts, it's Elite Platinum, all of them, with a screw supercharger. So make sure that you grab the Elite Platinum screw, Elite Platinum everything else. Don't worry about the nitrous. You're going to run Elite Platinum regular suspension, not road suspension, not off-road. This is neutral handling. My little bit of drifting, I have come to the conclusion with the guidance of most of you guys that regular suspension or off-road is the move. Regular road suspension just doesn't treat you right. So I would recommend this suspension because that's how I have the car set up. You run no brakes, and then you're running obviously Elite Platinum Pro Drift tires. You do have some extra points, so you get to run an Elite Platinum clutch, which is nice for this build. And then you are running the Sport Bronze 5-speed transmission. The 4 and the 6 do not fit, but the 5-speed does just nice, so make sure you put it in there. And then of course Elite Platinum diff, but you really don't even need it because we don't use it. Auxiliary is drift and probably near miss is what I'm going to recommend. Handling, slide the slider nowhere. Steering sensitivity, your personal preference. Downforce 1 to the right. If you're neutral, it's 330. If you're right there, 329. You're all set up. There's a couple spots in there you can do that, so just pick whatever's best for you. And then drift entry, probably brake or gas tap, whatever works. That's going to give you the GNX Drag Edition for drift racing. Make sure you're following here. If you mess this up, it's on you, not me. All right, S329, top speed 196. You're never going to get there. 944 on the horsepower, 1167 on the torque. It's a monster, and it gets sideways, and it banks those points really well. Let me show you the dark horse now. All right, here we go. If it doesn't look like this, when you start building, you have the wrong car. If you go to the buy and sell tab in the game, and you do not have access to it, you probably did not purchase the DLC. If you did not purchase the DLC, this car does not have the same advantages that it does with this body kit. If you don't have it, that's your business. Don't ask me in the comments like, oh, Cornnut, how do I get it now that I don't have it and I didn't buy it earlier? Like, I don't work for EA. And I'm definitely not in the camp of trying to get you to spend more money with them. But if you already have the drag car, this is how to set it up. Let's go. The engine that we're using in the Dark Horse is the second engine over. It is the 4.7 liter V8. Iron Basic engine, 200 brake horsepower when we start, and we go up a lot. It is Elite Platinum, all of it once again, and you're going to stab the screw supercharger in there. No nitrous, Elite Platinum, regular suspension, not off-road, just regular. Stock brakes, Elite Platinum Pro Drift tires, as we do. No clutch in this one, didn't have any room. And then you are going to run the Sport Bronze 5-speed transmission. Differential does not matter. Auxiliaries, I would do drift and near miss, or maybe drift and near miss. Yeah, those are the only two. All right, handling doesn't matter for the slider there. Steering sensitivity, that's you, Pikachu. Downforce all the way high. There's a couple in there you can do. You basically have from the center all the way to the right. Go with whatever you think is best. It's right there, 329. You have that whole slider to play with. You Pikachu. It doesn't really matter to me. I think probably mid-tier is good, but some people like it all the way high. It's whatever. You have to have this body kit on it, you guys. I cannot stress that enough. If it does not have this body kit, it does not have the immunity to banking your multiplier, thus making the car not as strong in the drifting for points game. Capiche? Cool. 202 for top speed, you won't get there in drifting. 1126 for your horsepower, 1082 on your torque. It's a mammoth of a machine, and it's got all the power to match. All right, let me show you two other vehicles that are not pay to win. The C6 Corvette is a banger. It's always been good at drifting, and it's finally really showing its true colors. DeBuster's been shooting some crazy scores at it. So I've got the most optimal horsepower crammed in the car setup that you can get. It might not be what he uses, so go check out DeBuster's channel. But this is the most ponies you can pack into it, so let me show you that setup. The Cornnut version. All right, the engine that we're using is the third engine over. It is the 2.9 liter V6, 505 brake horsepower when we start. That is the Sport Bronze engine. For the parts, it is Elite Platinum induction, ECU, and fuel system. You're going to do Super Gold exhaust and Super Gold Roots supercharger. No nitrous, Elite Platinum off-road suspension, no brakes, and then Elite Platinum Pro Drift tires, as we do for the points. No clutch, didn't have room for it, and then you are going to put in the Silver Pro 6-speed transmission. It does not fit with the 5. Make sure you have the 6. Differential does not matter. Auxiliaries, grip, drift, and near miss, whatever. I originally had this set up as a race car, so let me go put in the drift and near miss as my auxiliary. So we're good to go there. For the handling, you can't put that slider anywhere. Steering sensitivity, that's you, Pikachu. Downforce all the way high, that is 329. Everywhere else, as you can see here, that number is climbing. Last click, 329. All right, drift entry is brake tap or gas tap or both, whatever. 795 on the horsepower, 673 on the torque. This thing gets around the track just fine. It gets plenty of points, and it's one of DeBuster's favorites. It's been meta for drifting for quite some time, and it continues to be that. So that's the setup for S-Class. It definitely gets it done. Let me show you the last car in the stack that may surprise or not surprise any of you. The last car in the list is the Lamborghini Huracan Performante. The Huracan Performante. It's pretty good. The Huracan. Ooh, Huracan. Better than a Ferrari. All right, so it's all-wheel drive. It was this or the Colorado. I've shown the Colorado a lot. I'd rather see the Lamborghini slide around corners. I think most of you would too. So here's the build for the Huracan with the most horsepower that we can cram into it. The engine that we use is the very first engine in the lineup. It is the 6.4 liter V8, 470 brake horsepower when we start. That's the Sport Bronze engine. For the parts, it is Elite Platinum, all of it. So you're gonna max all that out and then put the Elite Platinum Roots supercharger in it. I didn't have room for the screw, so you're gonna run Roots, but we had extra points. And so for the sake of extra points, I defaulted to a Silver Pro bottle of nitrous instead of running the screw. I figured the bottle of NOS was a better way to go. But you could run the screw if you wanted to. It's up to you. We run Elite Platinum off-road suspension in this setup. No brakes, and then of course Elite Platinum Pro Drift tires. It comes stock with an Elite clutch, so that's pretty sweet. And then you're going to put the Sport Bronze 5-speed transmission in it. As soon as you look at it with any of the others, it just takes you well out of the class. Differential does not matter. Auxiliaries, drift, near miss, going to be my recommendations there. For the handling slider, steering sensitivity is whatever. Downforce is all the way high once again. You've got a couple of clicks in there, so go with whatever you think is best. You have to be at least one click to the right to keep it at 329. The rest is going to be out of the class if you go left. So do what you want. Gas, brake, tap, whatever. That's going to give you the last car that is probably the highest scoring points cars that we know of right now. Shout out to my man DeBuster for helping me with these as always. And if you're not following him and you're into the drift scene, like watching this video, you need to follow him because he shows a lot of gameplay footage and him and his buddies lining them up and just doing tandems and scoring lots of points. And so if you're looking for a little extra help or some lines around the track, that's the channel to go and watch. I'm just here to bring you the builds. All right, 163 for the top speed. You'll never get there. 1083 on the horsepower, 991 on the torque. Gets it done. It's a pretty good little drifty car. Like the video, please. Press the like button right now, just on your phone. Just hit it, click it, do whatever you do. That helps out a bunch, puts the video in front of others, and I really appreciate all of you for sticking around this far into it. Everyone have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.